Hey you, yeah you who clicked on this video. Thanks for giving our channel a shot. And if you will, please do us the honor of watching the video all the way through. Appreciate it. Now onto the video. So I really got to start with this video for House of the Dragon episode 1 by saying that I really didn't want to like the show. Like I really didn't. And the reason being is because I was one of those people that was highly disappointed in the seasons 7 through 8 of Game of Thrones. It kind of a little like the tail end of season 6. I was one of those people, and so I kind of swore off Game of Thrones because I try to make a practice of giving up on things if they give up on me as a fan. But so when I heard about House of the Dragon, I really wasn't enthusiastic about it. And then as time went on and the show came out, I was like, look, I'm gonna give it a try. So now, yeah, I'm gonna be doing these recaps because I'm actually enjoying the show. So that being said, we're gonna recap the Heirs of the Dragon. So, of course, this is 200 years before the events of the original series, and it's taking place in 101 AC, or that's where the prologue happens, with King Jaehaerys Targaryen, who is convening a great council to avoid civil war and basically have all of the great houses vote on who the next heir will be between his two grandchildren. First being the oldest grandson, Prince Viserys Targaryen, and the second being his granddaughter, Rhaenys Targaryen. And so, because now, spoiler alert, this is going to be a full recap. So if you're not looking for spoilers, you need to like watch the episode and come back. But this happening is interesting because the overall theme is basically that a woman can't sit on the throne, and that a woman sitting on the throne makes the other great houses unequal. So they, of course, picked Prince Viserys, who will become King Viserys Targaryen. So 9 years into his reign, we see that Viserys' wife, Queen Aemma Arryn, is pregnant with a baby, and she knows beyond a shadow of a doubt that it's going to be a son. It's got to be a son. So Viserys organizes a grand tourney or tournament for the knights of all the great houses to basically celebrate the birth of his son. And we're introduced to a lot of different characters, one of which is the king's daughter, Rhaenyra. And she's an interesting character. She's played by Millie Alcock. And at first, when I first saw this character, the first thing I could think was, this is, Diet Daenerys with Splenda. But she's actually her own character. She's very different from Daenerys in the idea that she would be more at home with hunting and fighting and waging war than she necessarily would be with basically going to balls and dances and and wearing dresses, and that's cool. Reminds me a lot of Arya Stark, Now, we were also introduced to the brother of the prince, Prince Daemon, played by Matt Smith, who's very brash, very violent, very he is almost the complete polar opposite of his brother Viserys, in the idea that he is not a measured person, but in fact he wields power with a fist rather than with a scalpel. So it's really interesting to see this character. Now, at this tournament, we get to meet other characters like Princess Rhaenyra's best friend, Lady Alicent. We meet Sir Christian, who is an up-and-coming knight, who is a common-born Dornish knight of a middling to low-born house, but still good enough to get a knighthood. We also meet various other characters from the small council, and they're interesting. In particular, you meet the Hand of the King. The Hand of the King is actually Lady Alicent's father, and they're from a house that you won't really remember from the original series, and that's House Hightower. And we also get Steve Toussaint as Lord Corlys Velaryon. Now remember, House Velaryon has long since been gone in the events of the original series, but in this we actually get to see them. And so he is the head of House Valerian, and he is also the husband of the basically the slighted princess, Viserys' cousin. And they're also kind of jockeying for position, as everybody is who's at King's Landing. You know, if you know anything about King's Landing, you know that that's how it works. And so we were introduced to this really interesting set of characters. And throughout this tournament, you know, we're basically showing a dual storyline between the tournament and the goings-on of the tournament, where Daemon is really just peacocking and showing off, and what's happening with Lady Aemma Arryn of the Vale, and the Queen, who's trying to give birth to a son. And she's had a bunch of stillborns. She's actually miscarried a few times. And so they're really anxious about this. And tragedy really strikes in this episode, because as the tournament is going on, what ends up happening is that there are complications to the pregnancy as she's going into labor. And the maesters basically tell the king that, look, we can save the baby or we can save the mother. And of course, being that he's trying to cement his legacy, and he knows that he can't leave the throne to his brother Daemon, because Daemon is, you know, in most cases, especially dealing with the political situation, he is a world-class fuck up. He is the originator of the gold cloaks of King's Landing, or which are basically the city guard that answer to the King's Guard. And he basically runs around killing a bunch of just random citizens in King's Landing to establish order, but it's a massacre. He's basically just pointing out people, saying that they've done these crimes. There's no trials, there's no nothing. And when he's called on the carpet about this, he's basically throws his hands up and says, well, I did what I was supposed to do. And this, you know, is bothersome to most people at the small council, except for Lord Valerian. And so now that we're, you know, faced with this, the king's choice as to what he's going to do, whether or not he's going to save his wife or save the baby, is easy for him to make. Well, not easy, because it's obviously that he loves his wife and, you know, he would like her to live, but the choice has to be made for the betterment of the kingdom, or the seven kingdoms. And so, you know, he chooses the baby. They attempt basically a rudimentary, I guess, C-section, if you could even call it that. And ultimately the baby doesn't die. So, you know, now the king is faced with what he's going to do as far as, you know, naming an heir, because his baby was only alive for a couple of minutes, and then, you know, his life was cut short. In the midst of this, we get a really cool scene because in the tournament, we get an interesting scene of Daemon, like I say, peacocking, cheating during the jousting. And when he is faced with going toe to toe with this knight of just low-born status, not low-born status, but definitely not, he's nowhere near as high-born as the Targaryen. He gets his ass kicked. Like, he gets his ass royally handed to him and has to kind of leave the tournament in shame. And it's just so interesting to see. And this knight, Sir Criston Cole, he seems like a really cool guy who's just, you know, trying to make his way in this world. So, I mean, that's episode 1. Like I say, I really enjoyed this. But one thing I did not like was Daemon basically talking shit about this, about his nephew who died, calling him an heir for a day. And when it gets to the king's ear, you know, King Viserys is furious. So furious, in fact, that he names Rhaenyra as his successor, which pisses Daemon all of the fuck off. And it also pisses off Lord Valerian, who was basically backing Daemon as the heir apparent after Viserys passed. Now, what's weird is that Viserys is obviously going through some sort of physical malady, some sort of skin issue, And that's also definitely informing on his decisions because he probably doesn't gonna make it. So this is the first episode. I'm gonna go to the next episode for recaps, and we'll go from there depending on if you guys enjoy this. So let me know what you guys thought about this episode, and we'll see you on the next one. 8-Bit Heroes out. Peace. If you'd like to get a shout out on the channel, then hit that like button, maybe share it with a couple of friends, and do us the biggest honor of all, and subscribe to the channel so you can join the 8-Bit Heroes family. And while you're at it, hit that bell icon so you can be notified when our new videos come out.